To Australia now, where days of torrential rain have caused flooding in the state of New South Wales. More than 30,000 residents around Sydney have been ordered to evacuate their homes. It's just the latest in a series of flooding emergencies to hit the east coast this year. Australia's emergency minister said the frequent disasters showed climate change must be taken seriously.
Roads turn to rivers. Cars drifting like capsized boats. As floods swallow their homes yet again, many here are wondering, is this the new normal?
We're over it. We're so over it. 4 times in 3 months is a bit much for all of us. A lot of us aren't coping. There's a lot of people in the area that are elderly with illnesses and stuff like that, and we're stuck, we're stranded.
The deluge has caught many off guard, leaving some trapped in their homes or cars. This woman narrowly avoided being swept away by the torrent. Rescue workers are in a race against time, as the Sydney area has already received 4 times the amount of rain it usually does during the entire month of July. With the National Emergency Services warning of the worst flood in 18 months, authorities have ordered more than 30,000 people to evacuate. They warn that the nightmare is far from over.
We have another at least 24 hours to go before we hear that the rains may subside. But the ground is saturated, the rivers are fast flowing, the dams are overflowing, so it's particularly dangerous out there, particularly in the Hawkesbury Nepean.
Australia is feeling the backlash of climate change, with drought, bushfires, and damage to the Great Barrier Reef, and now floods becoming not only more common, but also more intense.
For many communities, this is the 4th flood that they have seen in less than 18 months. And some of those images are truly heartbreaking, seeing people's homes, their lives turned upside down again, and their livelihoods very much impacted.
In March alone, floods killed more than 20 people, a toll all but sure to soar as Australia faces ever more extreme weather.
For more on this, we're now joined by Laura Chung. She's an environment journalist at the Sydney Morning Herald and joins us from Sydney. The 3rd major floods just this year. How are people there coping?
So as you've heard, people are really struggling. I mean, a lot of people have barely even recovered from the first few events, and now they've been hit by this flooding event. A couple of people I've spoken to today have just said they don't know how they're going to do it. You know, and a few of them have said they might just pack up and leave and move somewhere else and completely away from the flood zones. So you're really sensing that people are tired, they're exhausted, and they just don't know how to go on.
So how much of a role does climate change really have to play here?
Well, what's really important to remember is that we've just had a La Nina weather system come in over the summer, which means that we've had above average rainfalls, which is why we've seen a lot of rain over the summer. Now, we've just coming into our storm season as well as we come into those autumn and winter months, which means that we're seeing a lot more of these storms. So the important thing to remember is that this is quite common to sort of see for this time of the year, but you've got a lot of other climate drivers which are exacerbating this. So what we know is as climate change worsens, these types of storms and these types of weather systems are only going to become more intense and more frequent.
So does this mean that communities there will have to adapt to more frequent floods like these?
So the main focus at the moment is just on recovering, getting through the next 24 to 48 hours and making sure that everyone is safe. But, you know, that raises an important question about what life looks like in these flood zones. For a lot of these residents, they're really used to living with floods. But as you've heard, people are tired and they don't know how to go on. So that will raise a question on what sort of infrastructure looks like, how we respond to these types of events, and how we communicate with these types of communities about, you know, what is happening and how to get out faster and those types of evacuation messages.
Environmental journalist Laura Chung talking to us from Sydney there. Thank you, Laura.